all of the work that you had to do with the computer, now you can ask ChatGPT agent to do it.
Are we talking about all of us having basically an executive assistant?
Assistant can provide you with an answer. Agents can actually do the task for you as well. We created a brand evaluator agent. This agent was trained on the brand tone, but all of the previous context. Agent provides a feedback, provide a scoring, and on the basis of that scoring, they go back, improve the content, and they only go to the manager once it has got all of the checks from the agent. We are going to go into this age, whether we like it or not, where we will be working with agents. The problem is if you are not ready to work with agents or manage agents, what would be your role in your organization?
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to The Dumb Monkey Show. We are, of course, as always, joined by the co-founder of Enterprise Monkey and The Dumb Monkey Show, Aamir Qutub. Aamir, hi.
Hi, Davina. How are you?
I'm actually really well. I'm excited about today's chat. We've been doing a little bit of talking about some things that we would like to touch on today. And yeah, I'm excited to get your thoughts on it.
Are you going to say the word?
I want to speak to you about agents.
Oh my God. That's going to be
AI
interesting.
agents.
Yes.
It's not James Bond, but it's still pretty cool. So before we go too deep into how our listeners can start to use AI agents and how they might like to start to set them up, we should probably explain, what is an AI agent?
That's, I would say, is one of the most asked questions of this year. Like, agents is something that's been used so much in every context, everywhere you would hear about the word agents. And there is no very clear definition of agents. Everyone tries to come up with their own definition. But the best way to think about it is that if assistant can provide you with an answer, so again, that person who's sitting in the middle of Federal Square or someone you are calling in US, rather than providing the answers, agents can actually do the task for you as well. So if you go to that person and say, what is the answer to this? Like an assistant would just provide you with a response, but you can actually ask this person or ask this agent and say, hey, this is good, but can you actually do this work for me as well? So can you transcribe this file? Can you send an email? Can you open up my calendar and mark an entry? So agents, when we talk about agents in general, are the ones where we move into territory of them not just providing the response, but actually taking an action on our behalf as well.
We had Ramon on the show a few episodes ago from News Corp, and he talked about how he was using AI agents really regularly in his life and increasingly. And that had been quite a short journey for him in terms of setting those agents up and then starting to use them and then increasingly building them into his life to the extent that he's, running his job presumably from his car and is able to have much longer lunch breaks. I hope that that's what he's doing. Didn't sound like he was, but I feel like that's moments away. So is this what we're talking about? Are we talking about all of us having basically an executive assistant?
Yes, an executive assistant, but more than that, all of us having a marketing manager, a strategist, a consultant, a worker, and an admin, all of these people, but actually AI agents doing the work for us.
I'm going to give myself the context of, and I'm asking for a friend, I'm going to give myself the context of being a busy working mother of two. I have multiple calendars that I'm trying to stay on top of, and I frequently forget where I need to be and what I need to be doing at the time. Can I get AI agents to help me feel more organized about my time?
Yes. So the use case is that I have got a little AI agent that calls me in the morning and say, you have got these meetings aligned. You are going to meet this person. Remember that you had this conversation with this person. So you have to go and talk to him about this. You have got a podcast shooting in the night. Make sure your clothes are ready and all of that. So that agent is looking into my calendar, looking at the context, and then giving me a call and explaining me all of those things.
Is the agent that is calling you, do they have a specific accent? Do they have a name? Please tell me they've got a name.
Yes, it's called Celine. It's inspired from my book, where the consultant is Celine. So Celine is my personal assistant.
Fantastic. And we actively encourage you to give names to your agents. They are going to be part of your world. Let's make them cool.
Yes, and let's make them multicultural, multi-ethnic as well. Yes.
Fantastic. So tell me a little bit, Aamir, about we're joking around a little bit here, but in all seriousness, in a world where AI has the ability to solve some of these problems for us and to work with us as really effective tools, for someone who is looking to implement more agents into their workflows or into their working life, or even into how they get to working life, what can you tell me? Where do they start?
Sure. So let's unpack this by understanding what are the different levels of agents that are out there and what are their capabilities. So there are agents that are already there, which are already available, which you can start to use, like ChatGPT has come up with their own agent. Perplexity has got an agent as well, like Claude, Grok. All of these companies are coming up with the agents. Now, these are very generic agents and they can do generic tasks. One of the generic tasks that they can do is if you ask a ChatGPT agent, say, find me the best deal to go from this place to there, or build my itinerary, it can open it up its own computer and then browse the websites and then
so
provide
pretty cool for a holiday itinerary.
It is,
for instance.
yes.
It's information that it can find readily. It has the world of information out there. It can look at budgets, costing, destinations.
But also if your boss asks, find me a new supplier for this thing, compare the rates and all of the work that you had to do with the computer, now you can ask ChatGPT agent to do it, and it can open up its own computer and do all of those tasks for you. The reason I say it's generic in nature is that it still doesn't have enough context about you. It's going to go on the websites, but where it requires you to log in into a website, it would still need your assistance to be able to log in into your website. However, we have got something like Perplexity, which is again a generic agent. They've got a browser called Comet, which it's a browser, but it's an agent as well, because in your browser, how you have got all of your systems already logged in. So if I ask Comet and say, look into my Xero, download the profit and loss file and send it to these people, it can actually open up my Xero or my CRM, download the file, do analysis, send it to the people that I want to send it to, because it has access to all of those systems. I'm already logged into those systems. The reason I'm saying that it's still generic is that you still have to ask them to do the work. And me being the lazy person I am, I don't want to be asking my agents to do the work. I'm still having to provide all of that information. The world that we are moving into is where we would have agents that, or we are actually seeing there are agents that can automatically do the job by themselves without you asking them to do the job. So you define the workflow, they know that they have to run the workflow and they would be working in the background doing the job. So to explain it again in a simpler way, you've got these generic agents. Then there are agents that you can build for your organization and you don't need any coding expertise or any technical expertise to build your agents. You can build them like I would teach you today on how you can build an assistive agent. And in the next session, we'll talk about automation agent. And that's something that you can build as well. So
sounds really cool. All right, I'm settling in.
Yes?
Teach me.
You're ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so we have got one class of agents is assistive agents. Now, assistive agents are the ones where I would call them pseudo agents because they're still not doing the work, but providing you a lot more contextual information. So that person who was sitting at Federation Square, rather than going to him and asking for the information, you are actually kidnapping that person and bringing them into your organization.
Please don't actively kidnap the person.
Yes. And you are actually hiring that person and bringing to your organization and giving them all of the context, giving them all of your file and saying, read it and keep reading it until you have got all of the information. And then you give them a particular role. So an agent, example of an assistive agent is like Sophia, the safety bot. Now the Sophia, the safety agent, is trained on your safety procedures, OHS manuals, everything that's out there in WorkSafe. So now if a person has to ask any question related to safety, am I allowed to go on site without helmet, or if I got injured at site, what should I do?
We've got a contractor coming in. They're going to do this job, or they're going to work on this particular area of the facility. What do I need to do?
What forms do they need to fill?
Yeah, fantastic.
So instead of having to look into policies and procedures, because that agent has got access to policies and procedures, that agent can provide the answer straight away to the people.
I mean, that sounds horrible because I don't know about you, but I think a lot of people are going to really miss looking deeply into policies and procedures.
I wouldn't be the person that would miss
there
it.
will be.
Yes,
there will be
yes.
some people who do.
Some
But
people might have
this sounds pretty
policy
great.
fetish.
This
Yes.
sounds pretty great.
Yeah.
It's AI. There's always a catch. What's the catch? What do I need to be worried about?
Actually, if you train it well, it works out really well. Like, so we have developed a lot of agents internally as well as externally. So you could have like a safety agent. A very good use case is an HR assistant. You know how many times people would call HR people and say, hey, what is the policy of doing this? Or how do I apply for leave? Or what do I do about that? You take all of your policies, you take all of your procedures and put that in an agent. Now it could be a custom GPT or a Copilot agent. And then every time anyone has a question, they can just ask that HR assistant and it can provide them with the answer. They've got all of these internal use cases. Then you've got external agents that you can build for your customers. So for the Bounce group, the trampoline park, we recently did their website and we built a party planner agent. So earlier they were receiving a whole lot of phone calls of people saying, hey, we want to book a party. We have got this much budget, these many kids, these many questions. Now you go onto their website, go to the party section and start conversating with the party planner. And you say, I've got these many kids, this kid is fussy, this person has this problem, my budget is this much, can you help? And this agent actually talks to them, walks them through it, and actually helps them build their party plan. But that's just one example.
Yeah.
You've got a skincare advisor, you've got like a lot advisor, rent assistant. So every business where someone is visiting on a website for a particular information, they can actually have a customer-facing assistant. Every business that's providing a service or product, they can have like a support assistant. And then every business where you have people looking for information or knowledge, they can have those internal knowledge assistants that can help their team members find the information quickly.
Yeah, so I think I found where the worry point is if my agent isn't working very well, it's because I didn't train them well.
That's right, yes. And what we have also identified is that sometimes when you deploy these agents, like you have to test them very rigorously. So building is easy, testing is the difficult part. So rather than saying building it and putting it out, you have to test it and make sure the responses that you are getting from it are right, especially on the edge cases. And
I'm going to wind you back there. Explain to me what an edge case is.
If you develop an agent that is going to provide information about HR assistant, that's going to provide you every information about HR policies and procedure. Now, if someone asks a question which is not related to HR policies and procedure, or something that completely throws the agent, then it might return with something that it can make up.
So it's going to hallucinate?
It could hallucinate if you don't train it well, yes. Or it could come up with something that's not related, or it could try to provide answer to that question.
So we're coming back to that idea, and we do repeat this a lot. We will be continuing to repeat this a lot just in case people are jumping in and out of episodes. But one of the quirks of AI, one of the features of AI when you're using these functions is that if it doesn't have an answer, it'll still give you an answer.
That's right.
So without the information, it will still give you an answer. It's just that the answer will probably not be very useful and may be problematic. So that's why when we talk about hallucinations, that's what we're talking about.
Absolutely. But with the agents, one thing that you can do is you can set up guardrails, and you can define in the guardrails that if a user is asking these type of questions, this is how you should respond. You should say it's out of my jurisdiction, I cannot answer this question, and so on. So by putting the right guardrails and testing it on those edge cases, you can make some really strong agents that could be really helpful.
I mean, this sounds kind of fun, and I'm sure we'll all do this in a very work-appropriate way. But for a business that's setting up an agent to be able to, before they roll it out, to go through the testing phase, bring everyone in your work in. Get them to ask them to start throwing the curly questions, ask them to make some stuff up and ask this new agent. So you really do want to play with it. And, you know, I've got a thing about names. So when you give your agent a name, it feels like that's an easier way to communicate to your team, to say, okay, we're going to go and play with Sophia the safety bot.
Yeah.
Let's ask Sophia some really tricky questions.
And then by asking those tricky questions, you test it and then you refine it. So what we see is that if you're building a simple agent, you can generally build it in within 4 to 8 hours. Like the actual time to build is like 1 to 2 hours, but thinking and planning. But you can build a basic agent between 4 to 8 hours. And then if you are testing it every day with your team, then you almost need to spend like 1 hour every day. And within 6 to 7 days, you can actually have an agent that's actually tested and working really well.
It's the magic of AI, isn't it? I mean, that's pretty quick turnaround for a really potentially an incredibly valuable part of your business and part of your workflows.
Yeah. So if you think of something like a safety bot or HR bot, it might seem very difficult to build and very ambitious, but a business owner or leader can listen to it right now, start building it, and it could be ready in next 1 to 2 hours.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Particularly, and again, maybe the hardest part of that might be finding the documentation. Is it on hand? Yes. Do you know where it is? Have you got the right version of that? Because, of course, any agent is only going to be as good as the material that it's been trained on.
Absolutely, yes. And when we are implementing Copilot within organizations, one of the challenges that we identified is that the SharePoints are not very well managed. And they always ask, can AI do this for me? Can AI manage the SharePoint for me? Unfortunately, we do not have, there's no AI that can fix everything for them yet. But a simple way is if, for example, again with Safety Assistant, you already have your OHS policies and procedures in one folder. You might have some superseded documents. You can create a new folder, move all of the files, and that's again 3 to 4 hours of worth of work. But once you have got those files right, then the agent that would interact with it would provide the right information.
What's the coolest agent that you've developed so far, Aamir?
Ooh.
What's your favorite?
So I would say is my personal one, which is my LinkedIn post builder, because it has been trained on all of the information that I've understood about the virality and so on. It has got all of my life stories. So I have talked to AI for a long time. It has got chapters and chapters about my story, my history, and then it has got access to all of my viral posts. So all I have to do is say, hey, create a post about motivation or create a post about coming out of failure. So it's going to pick up one of my stories and create a post and write it in a format that it performs really well on LinkedIn. And if you go on my LinkedIn, some of my posts have worked really well and they are all generated with the help of AI.
What would you tell our listeners and our audience about how to be, checking? I want to say checking, how to be mindful of still, in the same way that we would with anyone that we're working with. I mean, we don't just sort of let people roll off completely on their own, unchecked, and we never touch base and we never check what sort of work is being done and we never collaborate. What are the touch points? How should we be checking that the AI is doing what we want it to do?
Sure. So if you are building like a normal GPT in custom GPT in ChatGPT, it doesn't provide you with any logs of how people are using it. But if you are deploying agents through Microsoft Copilot and Copilot Studio, you can actually look into the logs of how it's performing, its history. And that's something that we recommend, is that we consistently check the logs of the type of answers that it's providing. Even the clients where we deploy customer-facing agents, we continuously monitor the answer that's providing and continue to retrain the agent on some of the answers it's providing as well. Because no matter how amazing agent you build at this stage, when it's going to interact with the actual users, some of the answers might not be fully right. It might be there, but it's not 100% sure. And that's where you have to look at what it's responding with and continue to retrain it. So don't think of it as a one-off exercise. Think of it as a process where you would deploy an agent and continuously monitor it. Similar to you hiring an intern, bringing into your organization. You don't say, okay, now this is your organization.
You're
to
done.
run.
We've given you your pass key and your access.
Yeah. So you need a manager for that agent. Like you would have a manager for that intern. So you would have a manager for that agent. You would have a trainer for that agent. So manager's role is to ensure that it's behaving, working properly from business perspective. And the trainer would be the person who manager would go to and say, hey, there are some quirks. Can you train this agent to perform better? So between these two people, consistently watching it and watching it for the next 3 months, you can make sure that the agent is actually performing really well.
So I'm listening to this and I'm imagining that within a reasonably short period of time, a lot of the work that we do is actually going to go into managing and training agents.
That's what we will be doing in our day jobs. We would be
and in our lives.
Yes. So a natural progression at the moment in any role is that you are working hands-on when you start in your career, and then you start to become some sort of manager, and then you are managing a team of people, a team of suppliers, and then you are working with those teams, but you are delegating a lot of your tasks. So one of the key role of the future is going to be managing those agents. First is bringing them on board, training them on your day-to-day work, but watching over the agents. So every person would have 4 or 5 agents working under them, and they would be consistently watching, training them, doing performance analysis, performance review, and then making sure that they are doing their work really well.
For someone who that hasn't worked with AI before, or for someone that's really just using it at a fairly basic level, that might sound really confronting.
It could be confronting, but unfortunately, the world is not governed by what we are comfortable with. We are going to go into this age, whether we like it or not, where we will be working with agents. Now, you can decide and not embrace this. But the problem is, if you don't embrace this, if you are not ready to work with agents or manage agents, what would be your role in your organization?
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you learn this skill, become that AI champion, and I again take the example of how Raymond has done so well by embracing and learning AI, then you become an asset to your organization. You can, when you're managing a team of 5 agents, that's actually doing a work of 30 people in your organization, then you would be a highly valuable asset in your organization. You will be that Messi or Ronaldo that we talk about.
Yeah. And of course, when we talk about what agents bring to us and what they're able to do, there's so much scope for the potential to be more efficient, to be more timely, to be able to bring that information. I think there's a lot in the AI space where we talk about things that are almost like in real or near time. So we're cutting down the time that it takes to do things. We're able to find that policy point. We're able to ask that question quickly.
And we are just talking about assistive agents at the moment.
Yes,
these are the lowest level of agents. And I'm calling them agents because Microsoft calls them agents. Otherwise, they don't even classify as agents. Like the real agents are the automation agents that can do the work, but then autonomous agents.
That's going to be a really fun conversation.
It is.
We're gonna take that into a whole new episode.
Because when you move into agentic AI, with automation agents, you still have to give them a workflow and give them the task, and they do the task. With the autonomous AI, you don't need to specify the task. You can give it a goal. It can create its own task list, prioritize those tasks, and then performs those tasks and report back to you. So that's an agentic AI or autonomous agent that's actually been given a goal, and they're completing the whole function by themselves.
Yeah, fantastic. And Aamir, if we are when we're starting to use AI in this way, and it is picking up some of those tasks, what are some of the ways then that releases people? So you're working with businesses all the time. What are you seeing that when businesses are starting to work with agents, what is it then allowing them to do that they wouldn't otherwise have been able to do?
So one of the example is I was working with one of the marketing managers, and she had a team of 5 content creators under her who were constantly creating the stuff and bringing it to her and saying, and then she was testing it and saying, that doesn't go with the brand tone. There are some challenges with this and so on. So what we did for her is we created a brand evaluator agent. This agent was trained on the brand tone, but all of the previous context, and was given instruction that whenever a piece of content comes to you, here's a rubric. These are the things that you should look at. So you should look at the brand tone, the clarity, all of those factors, and you have to score them and provide recommendation back. So now when the content creators are producing the content, rather than taking it to her, they take it to the agent. Agent provides a feedback, provide a scoring. And on the basis of that scoring, they go back, improve the feedback, improve the content. And they only go to the manager once it has got all of the checks from the agent. And it has relieved the manager from that grunt work that she had to do. We are doing similar thing for the accountants, because again, you've got junior accountants going to senior accountants for a lot of that work. So these assistant or assistive agents have got that capability to free up people from that checking work or testing work. Any work where people are constantly asking for the questions can be done with the help of these agents as well. Then we have developed things like tender submission agents as well. They can look at a request for quote, analyze whether it's right fit for your organization, but then look at the previous tenders you have submitted and help you generate the new proposal on the basis of your previous tender submissions.
So these really time-consuming tasks, which means, of course, that we're freeing people to then be able to focus on what their core function actually
100%,
is.
yeah.
So a marketing manager's core function is not to check over the work of a team of people producing, daily content posts. It's to really stop and think about how can we help our business? How can we help the people that we work with or that we work for? How can we communicate better? What are some of the cool ideas I can come up with? So there's a lot of that creativity and drive and core functional things that it sounds like that we might have a bit more time for.
And that's something that you can easily start to build in your business, like a very simple way to build an agent. So if you are using ChatGPT, there's an option called GPT.
Mm-hmm.
You click on GPT, create new, and don't use the chat. There are two functions. There's like a chat function. You can converse with it. Don't use that. Go to the configuration option. Put the name, and as you said, give it a good name. Put a description. But the most important part of creating an agent is the instructions part. Now, with the instructions, you can again use the prompt framework. You can say, this is your role. This is the context. This is what I want you to do. But now with the new ChatGPT 5, the reasoning model or pro model, you can actually ask it to create the prompt for your ChatGPT as well. And I generally do that. I would ask my ChatGPT or Copilot and say, this is the agent that I'm trying to produce. This is what I want the outcome. This is what will be the input. I want you to build me the prompt. So I will take that prompt, copy it, and paste it in the instructions. And the second important aspect is the knowledge. This is where you can attach the knowledge. Now with ChatGPT, you can attach 20 pieces of knowledge and they are static. However, if you're building something same in Copilot, you can actually attach a full SharePoint folder as knowledge. Or you can attach your emails as a knowledge base, or you can attach an Outlook Drive as a knowledge base, or you can attach your Salesforce as a knowledge base as well. So that's what you get with something like Copilot. So again, with Copilot, you click on Create Agent, same interface as ChatGPT, almost copied from ChatGPT, name, description, instructions, and then knowledge. And knowledge is where the magic happens because that's where you're providing the context. And you click publish, as simple as that, and then you test it. And once you start to test it, you will start to see the results, and then you can refine it from there. But it's not a long process. It's not a very complex process. Anyone listening to this podcast can go ahead and create the prompt now. And at the end of this podcast, I'll share the resources and I'll share some templates that you can actually follow and use to copy paste almost to build your first agent as well.
I mean, agents is a fascinating conversation. I know that we're going to be talking about them an awful lot. We are absolutely going to come in and have a really good long chat about automation and agentic AI. And I'm really excited about that one because we can start to get into some of the real power that AI has to start to tackle some problems that we just don't, in a lot of contexts, we do not have enough money or people, and we will not. The need is too great or it's too difficult. So getting into this space of agentic AI starts to give us some real hope for some of the really positive power that AI can bring to our lives. But in the meantime, I'm actually really looking forward to setting up an agent of my own because, I need someone that prompts me back.
Yes, and I've got an idea of 2 more agents that I'm going to build for my organization.
Oh, fantastic. Have you got names for them?
Not yet, but I'll come up with the names.
All right, we'll share that
Or I'll
next
ask
time.
ChatGPT to come up with a name.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again, as always, for joining us here on The Dumb Monkey Show. We love your company. Look, honestly, we'd sit here and chat about it anyway, but it's way more fun with you guys out there. So thank you for joining us. If you have some comments or questions or ideas that you would like to hear about from us, feel free to pop it into ChatGPT or to Copilot or pop it in the comment section and we'll go back to you. So thank you so much for joining us and we'll see you next time.